Hey everyone! Yet again, we have a special guest, Tara from Port Missouri.
Hello.
Hello. Everybody say good vibes to Tanya. She is feeling a little bit better, but her voice is crackly, and I told her to get some rest and enjoy her Christmas. So she'll be back next week. But me and Tara are about to cut up this week, and we'll see what happens. Please
Yeah,
make
and it's
sure
easier.
Please make sure to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about both Sunday Shift and Port Missouri. We will cross promote this on YouTube, and then both individually will have the same episode on our Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. So fun times, fun times. You can buy us a coffee. Me and Tara will split that coffee. We did that this week, so thank you and shout out to the coffee buyer who was anonymous this week. So that's real love. And
No
much love,
glory attached to
right?
it.
No glory, but I'm giving the glory anyway. So thank you, anonymous. And yeah, merch is available at our merch store in the comments. Tara, how are you this week?
I'm good. I'm good. This is making my life so much easier. Because last week I really entertained the idea that I would record Sunday Shift and then record Part Misery. And then I was like, we talked for like over 2 hours. Like, that's enough of me for this week. Like, y'all don't need to hear another hour and a half. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do it again. Yes, yes. But this time I'll be able to upload it onto Port Misery so people are not. I'm pretty sure that like our audiences are the same.
I
So,
think there are people
but
who get their life on listening to you who don't listen to us yet. So make sure you listen to
I
both.
listen to both. And yeah, like and subscribe. I always save that to the end. I feel like I should put it in the beginning, but I forget. I'm
I'm
just like,
greedy. I say it all the time. Just anytime, randomly, just like, subscribe, anytime. Yeah, this week has been a week, but I am done with work for the rest of the year, which is both a good and like stressful thing. But um, Christmas Eve, my nephews are coming over, and so TT's Playhouse, they have the cutest gifts. I'm so excited. We're gonna just have like spaghetti because I was like, TT not cooking this year. So it'll just be some real simple. I'll also have some dino nuggets in the tuck because you know how kids be. And
Mhm.
then um, Christmas Day, I think I might go to the movies. I don't know.
I was thinking about that. I was like asking my mom, I'm making a lasagna
Mhm.
and I'm like going extra hard on it. It's gonna take me 2 days to make it, but it's gonna be worth it.
Tell us
Um
about the lasagna. I want to hear it again,
I'm I'm
even though it's
making
things I
like
don't even
except for
eat.
the even though I'm not making the noodles from scratch. I don't have time for that. But everything else I'm just making from scratch. And so I have to make my ragu. And so I'm gonna make it 2 days in advance. And it's good to make it 2 days in advance because I'm using a lot of different meats. So I'm using like short ribs and pancetta and Italian sausage. And so there's gonna be a lot of oil at the end of this. And I need to get that out before I make the lasagna. Because some people be making it too hot.
Uh,
You make the sauce and then you put it in and then you make the food and then when you pull it out the oven there's like a pool of oil on top, and that's not even counting the cheese oil that will come out because cheese got
yeah.
its own oil. And so it's kind of like a process, but it's kind of the thing where 363 days of the year I do not feel like cooking. I'm more inclined to like make something super easy, super
Uh-huh.
quick, or order it out. But like Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm like, let's go.
Do your
Let's
thing.
go. It's like the culinary holidays of this country. I'm sure other things are attached to them. I wouldn't know about them, but food.
Right, right. Yeah, I've
And
actually,
so
I'm in Milwaukee. I'm going home probably at the beginning of the year, but I'm in my soup era. So I've just been doing a lot of soups and saved money because I just make a big pot and just eat on it for a couple of days. I'm currently on day two of some really good chicken tortilla soup. Um, I tried to do a recipe the last time I made it. Wasn't great. It was fine, but it wasn't great. This time was just vibes. Chef's kiss.
I
Oh,
loved it. I am also done for the year because I didn't bring up actually what I did. I finished this week. I finished the class. I finished grading, and it's the first time. I ever got to teach my own class. And so it's kind of like a milestone. It
That's
wasn't a
amazing.
lecture. Yeah, it wasn't a lecture. It was a research seminar, but it was really fun. It was really nice to see young people come up with an idea. And some of them had to come up with it on the fly because I learned halfway through the quarter that this was originally put in the schedule as a Middle Eastern history research seminar, but
Okay.
they couldn't get someone to teach it.
Mm,
And so they kind of just put like a blast out to the department, like any, grad students at candidacy can like apply. We technically need a Middle East history research, but it could be anything. And so
yeah.
I applied. I'm a US historian. And so they were like, yeah, you could do it in fall. And so I did it. But I did have like four students who are Middle Eastern who were like, I wanted to do Middle Eastern history and now I'm kind of trapped. And so we had to have creative ways to like insert it. Like I had one student who was applying to graduate schools and she wanted to get into a Middle East history program. And so I was like, why don't you try? She was writing about abolitionist writing in the 19th century and how there was this how Black voices were both central but also silenced. And I was like, why don't you throw Edward Said in there, who came up with the theory of Orientalism, if you aren't familiar with that, any listeners. And she wrote a really good
Quick Google.
paper. Yes, quick Google. But yeah, she wrote a really good paper. And it was just really cool to watch people like come into their intellectual power. Not and them struggle with it because like you sit in a class and you get lectured at and you get told specifically what to think. And then at the very end, we're like, okay, you tell us what you think. And they
Mhm.
panic because they're like, well, what do the historians say? And it's like, well, you're the historian, so you tell me what
Mhm.
happened. And so it's fun to watch that process take place. And it ended on Wednesday, and I got all my grades in. And now I can take a mini break.
Nice. Come for GH, listen about history, listen about Edward Said, Google him for real,
Hmm.
and about soup season. Boom. This is what you get with the
Boom.
Tyra and Tracy show. Um, so want to talk about who I thought was a really good performer this week. And I want Tanya, I'm gonna ask her if she agrees. Because Tanya usually gives like a bunch of folks like shout outs.
Hmm.
I actually, shockingly, because I don't like Lulu, I want to talk about Alexa Havoc, who
Mm.
I thought was really phenomenal this week. I am a fan of being able to switch emotions, like mid-scene. And so if you remember in the scene, she's talking to Charlotte. Charlotte is kind of like, yeah, my dad is home, all of that. And Lulu is like trying to hold it together for her. And she's like, but as an audience, we can see her like busting through the seams with the emotion, but keeping it in check for her kid. And then when Charlotte leaves to go like do her homework or whatever she's doing, she breaks. And I just thought that that takes so much skill to be able to hold it for us as an audience to see the struggle and then just to let the emotion go. I have never been a Lulu girly, but I've also never had a problem with Alexa. I think that you and I both are the kind of people who, even if we don't like a character, are like the actress is T though. You know what I mean? Like we always give props. And I just wanted to give Alexa some props on I mean, Tara is the queen of nicknames, and I always take the nicknames on and I bring them over here. Um, Sidwell is still East African Warlord. Not that he's not talented, he's still East African Warlord. So when she first was cast, I was like, here we go with Babe Carey coming in. Like, here's Lulu Carey coming over here. And I don't even call her that. She's just Lulu because she's done such a great job embodying this character, working with the people that she works with, like with her kids, with Dom. She's just kind of seamlessly showed up and been Lulu. So I just wanted to give props to that, and I thought she did a great job this week.
Yeah, I really liked Lulu. I feel for her. And once again, I don't like Lulu's character, and this is OG hate from like
Yeah,
putting
same,
Michael in prison.
same.
I never forgot that was 2 fucking Lulus ago, and I'm still mad about it. And I just think that there is like a difference between like I used to have this as my pin tweet on Twitter where like I reserve the right to drag my faves and to applaud the characters I dislike when they do cool shit or I feel
Yeah,
for them.
yeah,
Because it's the truth. Like, and I get, watching and being like, look, there's nothing this person can do that would make me like them.
right.
I don't watch the show like that, but I definitely get that because once upon a time I did. Um, it's with Lulu, this whole situation. I felt for her and I thought Alexa Havens has been doing a really good job sort of showing the like chaotic emotions that would go through this, right? Because she is torn between, she knows that Valentine loves Charlotte. This is not a situation where she's worried about, the love factor. It's the danger of his life and how like kind of codependent they are on each other.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's a conversation people don't want to have. Like they want to have this like, well, she prefers her dad. And she prefer her dad lives a horrific life. Like, and the fact that she's even able to romanticize it in the ways it does kind of
yeah.
goes into the codependency of it. And I actually think that like I would add on to Performer of the Week Bluesy Burke as
Hmm,
Charlotte because I think
hmm.
she's doing a really good job. One, she had huge shoes to fill
Sure
with
did.
Scarlett Fernandez because she was an amazing Charlotte and she's filling them. And I think she does a really, really good job of portraying that person, this kid who is really literally trapped between two worlds
Right.
because she's so codependent with her father that, but she obviously likes her life with her mother.
Yeah,
That like she loves, like she almost wishes her father could give her the life her mother is giving her.
yeah.
Like switch them out. And I
Hmm.
think that it's such a chaotic situation for both of them. Like sometimes I'm having conversations and people will say, like, well, Charlotte likes Valentine more. Why doesn't Lulu get that? Why would she get that?
No.
Why would she get that? Like this
Yeah.
conversation of like, why doesn't Lulu rationalize the fact that her daughter would rather be with a terrorist? Who would, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you like the Charlotte relationship, I'm not saying you shouldn't like it. I think that there's reasons why Lulu would be, nervous about that.
Hmm.
And there's like the trepidation of Charlotte being like, I think the real question is if Valentine showed up right now, would she go with him? I
Right.
think
'Cause
she's
that's what she was
saying that
grappling with.
she,
Yeah.
yeah, like she's saying she would, like, yeah, I just want to say goodbye. And then they'd all be like, they're all like, what, girl, what? And then she's like, yeah, you right. I do like my room. I do like my school. And
Hmm.
so I just love like the Charlotte Lulu of it all. I really like both performances.
Yeah, I agree. I love what you said about her being trapped because she was like, I love having breakfast with you every day. Like, I love this like very normal domestic life that Lulu is trying to lay out for her children. That a life
Mm-hmm.
that Lulu didn't have,
Mm-mm.
and that was kind of robbed from her in both cases due to things that weren't necessarily her fault.
Yeah.
Like the way both of her kids, and me and Tara have had this conversation. There's something to me that's very weird. It almost feels like they're trying to punish Lulu with her children. And it to me, I could be the friend that's too woke. Y'all can tell me. It ties back to her having that abortion. And it just doesn't sit well with me that she has to essentially fight her children to be their mother when, with Charlotte that like Valentine had kept her and would not have told
Mm-hmm.
her that was her child until she found out. It is now granted, I am a person who has liked the transformation of Valentine. And we'll get into the Valentine and Carly of it all, because I love that. But I liked seeing Valentine. I hated Valentine when he first came on. Because I love the
Mm-hmm.
cast. I love Nicholas and I love Spencer. And I was like, he was gonna kill my kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I enjoy seeing what JPS is able to do with like the complicated nature of who Valentine is, because they kind of just give him anything, not without continuity, and he creates the continuity himself. And he be like acting his way into a job. Like he manifested and acted his way into
Hmm.
man. So I appreciate that she is like portraying all of these things, um, and that we're able to see it. And I think that I'm looking at it zoomed out as like not a mom but an aunt, and just like loving small children and like seeing it from that perspective while also being like, and Lulu, girl, I ain't never really mess with you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I think both of those things can be true. It's the same thing. I've never like Liz. I'm gonna tell you something. When they lost Jake, who I never wanted to exist, I boo-hooed. You remember when Jonathan Jackson held Becky and they fell?
Hmm.
Girl, I'm getting chills right now. Boo-hoo. I can give tens when tens are due. And that's what I think that, we can do here.
And also think that it's such a different situation because, like, this is not the Michael Willow situation where, like, Michael is keeping the kids, but they're still in town,
Right,
right? Willow is still able to, like, happen upon them and see them and know they're okay. Like, Charlotte being with Valentine means that she's off the grid.
right.
It means she has no relationship with her daughter. And
Exactly.
so,
It's not
like,
split
these are
custody.
the, yeah, exactly. And so these are the things that are in the back of my mind when I'm watching this. And like, I'm on Valentine's side. Like you were saying, I love him and him and the Carly teaming up. It's great. And I'm very conscious that he jumped out of a plane like DB Cooper. And that's weird as hell. That's weird behavior.
Oh my God, he's so
You know.
crazy. I love it.
Hmm.
Well, let's get into the story for the week because we also want to do like some end of the year wrap up stuff. So this might be, another long episode, get you a snack, pause, come back. It's the holidays. You probably have a little bit more time with us.
And
So
me and Tracy talk all the time. We could talk for 8 hours if you let us, but we're not going to do that. We
we're
will
not.
just talk amongst ourselves after. But just let you know, we
Buzzsprout
have
wouldn't
that
let me
dog
update
in
that.
us.
Right, right. Like I do trainings, Tara does lectures. We could talk forever.
Hmm.
So let's get into who shot Drew. It feels never ending. We keep doing it, but there are different pieces that have come up this week. So wanted to first get into Michael and Jocelyn's being at the Court Gardens. Now, I'm not even gonna get shady about the fact that it's December in upstate New York and they sitting outside. Heat lamps must be working overtime. But Willow and Drew show up. And Willow seems embarrassed to be seen with Drew in public. And I said, finally, somebody is saying this. That who is looking at them? Who is like saying, "Bro, this is weird. Didn't he sleep with your mama? Didn't you almost shoot him? Ain't you about to be on trial?" These things like should be a part of not just the main characters, but the side characters and the background characters should be looking at them too. Like they need to hire me because
Hmm.
I want to throw shade in the background of a scene. But Lulu seems to notice this. They are at the restaurant when she sees Carly, when she sees Josh and Michael, she wants to leave, and Drew gets on this. Nah, we gonna stay because that's a win. Just on that
He's
alone, how did you feel about that?
I mean, first, it wasn't even like a win. He said, we have every right to be here. No, you don't, actually. This is their mom's hotel. Like, what are we talking about? Like, they have every right to be here. And Carly has the right to refuse service to everyone, to anyone. And I don't know why your privileges have not been revoked. Like, you shouldn't even
Right,
be allowed to make this scene at the Metro Court, to be honest.
right.
And so it's crazy. But Drew's whole the question is like what is happening with Drew? I think like they're kind of rolling out what's happening with Willow. Like she looks deeply guilty. Just
Hmm.
deeply guilty now. And but he's just kind of like revving up the crazy, he's got this war with Tracy and the knickknacks. He's like demanding to stay. at the Metro Court, and he wants to, and it's just like all of his instincts are so poor,
Yeah.
like because he could tell he wanted Michael to flip out.
Yeah.
He was hoping that Michael will cause a scene. Michael doesn't cause a scene, and so he's like, "Let us get up and go to their table to cause this scene." And I'm like, in what universe does the rest of the dining, place not see this as you going over and causing a scene?
And why you ain't never at work?
Yeah.
You ain't got no
Isn't he?
no bills to pass.
He's up for
Nothing.
re-election in 2026. He's in
Yeah,
the
more
House. He's
progress.
not a
Yeah.
senator. Because like senators have 6 years, so like if he was Senator Kane, then he could be pulling this bullshit knowing you got 5 more years on your term. But like, bruh, you start campaigning as soon as you win office in the
Right.
House.
Right.
And so
Tired
it's
of it.
very weird. It's like the useless, they do not care what like a congressman. Like the one thing I can kind of say is that the GH writers are kind of like eating with how they're portraying this House member of not doing a goddamn thing. Like, is that a commentary, GH? On the House of Representatives that they have time for shenanigans like this because they don't do anything?
Because they don't go to work for real.
Mm, for
But we
real.
but I will say that this is like some of the first agency that we're actually seeing of Willow. Because like
Mm.
the last time she took any agency is when she did the stuff to Sasha and her baby, which we'll get back to. But it's always been just like go along to get along, go along to get along. And now she looks embarrassed. She telling Drew to calm down. She feeling away. Jocelyn come over and cuss her out if she just takes it because she knows she wrong. And we haven't seen her portrayed that way. She's been so defiant. So that to me is pretty interesting.
Shout out to Jocelyn for being one of the few characters on the show to not give Willow some Drew Kane cap and cover.
Right.
She is not on this like, well, Drew led her down a bad path. She's like, you made every single one of these choices willingly.
Well, let's get into it. So we have the trial start. Alexis obviously is like, I'm doing this for Scout. But I found this to be so interesting that in the opening statement, she was dragging Michael, but Christina seemed to have known these opening statements were happening. Like Alexis seemed to have like practiced these opening statements with Christina. Christina, ain't this the brother that you call anytime you get it? He would literally come bury a dead body for you. I'm not saying that you can't know what's happening, but why are you helping her practice?
I don't know. I think oh my God, they're trying to have her caught between Scout and Michael, being like, well, Scout needs us more. Michael could take care of himself. I mean,
Girl,
I don't know why Alexis thought that was a good opening statement. It just makes you and Willow sound petty.
so
Like,
I felt like Alexis did a horrible job. And I had posted about this online, and somebody said to me, well, she's gonna do all of this in like cross or whatever. I was like, I hear you, and maybe they're trying to have moments, but just, all of us have been watching lawyer shows our whole life. We actually know that you're not supposed to let the jury sit with it.
mm-mm.
So she brings so the DA brings up Christina, apparently didn't prep Christina for what she was going to say, even though she's the DA's witness.
For real?
And then it's like we find out that the Dawn of Day women was like the white Dora Milaje, protecting Shiloh with like weapons. What are we talking about? I, I had to ask in a group of people who watched the show. I was like, did I miss this? I know I watched the Dawn of Day story because that was a Jake Sam story.
None of that happened.
I was like, and Christina wasn't even in the trust. Sam
He was
actually got
writing
her from the trust.
he was writing books, L. Ron Hubbard status that Molly was like grammatically checking. And she was just like, you stole this from Buddhism, you stole this from Hinduism, this is fucking gibberish. It's all nonsense. And
Right.
so Nothing about weapons or because like you think they'd have that play out, especially when like Jason's like kicking in the door and saving Christina. And then like Christina didn't even get fully jumped in, as our friend
No,
Susie said.
not to Susie.
Because I'm not stealing Susie's joke. It was a good joke. But yeah, she didn't get fully jumped in because Jason like busted in and
Yeah,
saved her. And then my thing is like, okay, so you're bringing up Christina to do this like Dawn of Day shit, and now because it's Christina, Alexis doesn't go hard. Why not have Drew yell about that? That like why didn't you try to refute Christina's testimony that like Christina's
yeah,
unreliable as shit.
right. So also, so I'd be deep into my old YouTube bag. So I just rewatched a lot of Willow, like the OG Willow, where it was still like Chillo and Misha. And
Hmm.
what I remember was that, first of all, how did they not bring up, how does the DA not bring up that Drew knew Shiloh? Like knew Shiloh. So if why would the DA not say, well, Willow was duped by this man, and now she's being duped again by this other man who knew him? Because the reason a lot of us was like side-eyeing, even though it didn't make sense that maybe Drew was Shiloh, is because we remembered that they knew each other.
They were in the army together, the
Yeah,
Navy SEAL. They were in the Navy together.
yeah. So that's the thing that GH does, and I have been finding that to be really annoying all over the place, is not remembering history. I get it. We have a different Drew, and maybe you want us to not remember Drew, but even when Jocelyn connects with him, Jocelyn and Drew used to be close. Jocelyn has been close to every form of Drew, whether it was Billy's Drew or Cameron's Drew. Because when it was Billy's Drew, one, she thought it was Jason.
Hmm.
Then when he became Drew, they became really close to Oscar. I
Hmm.
can't, so how is Jocelyn not throwing Oscar in his face all the time? Right? Like, what would you do if this was Oscar? How would Oscar feel about this? Whatever. I don't even know if she's done that once. And then after that, when he came back from the fake dead, she he was dating Carly and they were close. So not even having Jocelyn bring any of that up, like they just don't want to like dig into the history of Drew. Again, proving to us that he never needed to be Drew in the first place. If you're leaving all that history on the table and it's just whatever, there's no reason that he could have been, y'all could have bought Ryan Lavery this out.
Yeah, could have
It
been
just
Duke's brother.
easily, and he could have still been in a relationship with Anna, could have had a little crush on Sam or whatever it was. Like there's lots of things. Could have seen this how he looked with Elizabeth, all the things. But y'all chose not to. It's just bizarre to me. I don't get it.
It's very weird. It's also weird that they chose to make up this like weapons training storyline when the fact that Willow is easily manipulated, that storyline was right there. But then
Right,
I guess they felt like they got caught up because she like ran away, but it was very well established that she ran away because she was pregnant. She
right.
didn't want her baby in Dawn of Day. And like the horny DA could have made the connection that like, well, if you hadn't got pregnant, would you still be there? And then
Yes,
ask Christina about that because like her getting into the cult goes into like, oh, easily manipulated, and then you make the Drew Shiloh connection. Like maybe this is some shit y'all learned in the Navy SEALs on SEAL Team 6 or whatever the hell y'all were doing, right?
right.
Um and so it's yeah, the use of history across the show where like obviously they knew they wanted to do the Dawn of Day thing, but then like okay, so we got to bring Christina in on that, but then how do we make it work without, oh, we'll invent this like weapons training nonsense when it was like y'all
Really.
were just it was a sex cult. It
Right,
wasn't some Jonestown shit.
right. And this actually goes against the because if she was so trained with a weapon, how did she shoot him twice and not kill
How she shoot him twice, not kill him? How is she not going after Shiloh? Like we watched Willow be terrified of this man
him?
for, she had to say, oh, you gotta hide, gotta do all these things. But now she could have just like Jennifer Lopez enoughed him,
Y'all know that's my
it's
mama movie.
right. And so it's just this weird thing for it to seemingly end up being Willow because horny DA.
Hmm.
Oh, horny DA. She had Drew on the stand. And before I bring this up, Alexis not questioning Drew at all is actually ridiculous.
Right,
Because like this is the time where you ask him why he married this hoe. Like you're married to her, so how do you feel about her? Do you think
right,
she shot you? Like that would
right.
be more helpful. But she's just like, bye, Drew, get off the stand. But the horny DA
Yeah.
brings up that Drew received zero calls or texts the night that he was shot.
Hmm.
But Kai and Trina distinctly remember hearing Scout's ringtone when they
Right.
were in the house. And so now it becomes who would logically have the same ringtone for Scout that Drew does? Oh,
Hmm.
Willow, because she's a mindless, peon. And so he was like, this is the song I use for Scout. She's like, I'll use it too. And so it's seeming to be pointing out Willow. And so now the question becomes, is Willow aware of this?
Hmm.
Does she know she did it? Or is she convinced that she did not do it because she was in some kind of fugue state? I do not want them to give her DID.
No,
I don't want to have to deal with a a reoccurring storyline like that. I don't want it. Like one of the best things they gave Luke DID and then Tony immediately left the show. Shout RIP to Tony. Oh my God.
I know. I couldn't
Um
even.
if
I
you
was too. Yeah, yeah. You're right.
Yeah. If you haven't heard, if you just don't check the news like that, because why would you? The world's in turmoil. Tony Geary, who most famously played Luke Spencer on General Hospital, passed away earlier this week. Um, so sad, such a loss. GH, oh my God, we keep losing the greats. It's
We
actually
do.
crazy the
We
amount
do.
of greats we lost in 2025. But his last storyline was DID.
Yeah.
It was DID, and it wasn't supposed to be that, by the way. This is where I'll never forgive you, Shelly and Jean, because the story was not supposed to be DID. The story was supposed to be that he was actually Bill Eckert and that Bill Eckert had Luke somewhere. And he was like flipping out and he was mad because Tony Geary came back to the show in 1991, but he didn't want to play Luke because he had a lot of issues with Luke. Especially the essay between Luke and
Right.
Laura. And he hated how people tried to like justify it and do all it was seduction. Tony Geary hated that shit more than anyone.
Hmm.
And so he agreed to come back if we could play a new character. And so they created Bill Eckert in 91. He owned Eckert's. We still have the legacy of it with Eckert's Bakery.
We do.
Um, but to bring by 93, people were like, yeah, I don't want this. Like I don't want this Bill Eckert person. I don't want fake Lucky because Bill Eckert had a son. And so they end up killing Bill because he looks so much like Luke. Frank Smith comes back to town. He kills Bill thinking that he's Luke, and that is actually what brings Luke and Laura and Lucky back to town.
Right.
And so his final storyline was going to be this like Bill Eckert comes back and he's mad because, he lost his entire life because of Luke. And then Luke kind of swoops back in and is Luke Spencer again and has this great adventure and it's going to be this big. And then we all figured it out. We all figured it out. And Shelly and Jean didn't like that. They famously hated anytime Twitter specifically figured out their storylines. See, the Paul Hornsby is the serial killer
Right.
storyline
Which didn't
that
make
also
sense.
happened. And so she changed it to I know Ron started the story, but they ended up changing it to make it that he has DID when they took over because Tony and Mo successfully got him fired.
shout out to them having just like so much. They were like, we're not doing it.
Yeah. And so they changed it
Ah,
because we had figured it out, and then he hated that shit and he left. And so he left on some DID shit, and it sucked because we lost the legend. But we also didn't have to live with a DID Luke that they would like periodically shift into evil Bill Eckert because nobody fucking wanted to see that. And so, me personally, I do not want to see DID on General Hospital. I'm over that. We do evil twins on GH. We don't have split personalities. We have evil, long lost, identical twins who kidnap us and steal our lives.
that's that. Now we do that because I did just finish
Yes,
watching. I did just finish watching the Kevin Ava, which was so good. The
yes,
Ryan of it all,
Alex.
a mess.
Alex likes to
Um,
come steal Anna's life,
as you do with a
you
witch hat,
know.
still iconic.
Hmm.
um, yeah, first of all, R.I.P. Tony. And I am interested to see. I don't want to see DID. I wanted to see it for Liz when they were doing like her anniversary story, and then it ended up just being like what Ambien. I don't know. It was silly, but for Lulu, not Lulu. Woo, I can't talk today. Maybe I'm.
Willow.
For Willow, I would rather see like dissociating in the moment as opposed
Hmm.
to dissociating personalities.
Hmm.
Um, I think the best case scenario for me is that it happens, it's Willow, Drew covers it up, and then it just becomes never solved. We did never solved murder for Jagger. We can do never solved attempted murder for Drew. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. So I think you talked about this much, Tara, that what was the point of this story? Stories are not supposed to just to happen. They're supposed to feed into other things, not just story, but also characters. So Drew gets shot and he becomes worse. He becomes a worse version of himself. He becomes somebody who no longer who doesn't even reflect a little bit, who's still absolutely terrible. It's not like, oh my God, me being terrible is bad for my daughter. I should let her like nothing. He's just remains terrible and is even worse. The only thing that can bring him back down to earth is if this shooter is either Willow or Scout, because he needs somebody that will crack his face. You have said this time so many times, which is so true. If it's anybody else, he just feels justified in everything he's done wrong.
It
I
can't be
don't,
Michael. It
yeah,
cannot be Curtis. Like it can out
no,
of everyone, it 100% cannot be Michael or Curtis. I think they've already understood it can't be Alexis
right,
for various reasons. She's already seen prison on this show. And so
right,
like it needs to be something that like makes him step back and think about what led to this.
right,
And so I do want Willow to see some type of justice. I don't think it should be prison, or if they did do the prison, they should do the like Michael story of like she's only there for a second and then somebody like I don't know, Liz shows up like I take responsibility for her and then she just lives on Liz's couch like Michael lived on Don's couch or some bullshit. Or they put her in Shady Brook where apparently you can get off an attempted murder in like 3 months. Like
yeah,
you're healed. Kevin just says you're healed. Um, it's just this is like the story. This is one of those things where like next year when I record, I can't praise the show too much because if I praise them too much, then they'll do this shit again. Or they'll
yeah,
drag a storyline out like, well, you said you liked this. And so let me just keep it rocking. No, I like it, but I need it to go into something else.
right,
Like you should already be having Willow be doing her next steps of like, how does she get her kids back? How does she get her actual lick back on Drew or Nina if she wants to on Michael? How does she rebuild her life? Like they haven't figured out how Willow functions outside of the characters she's
right,
orbiting.
right.
And that's a problem.
Mm-hmm,
Like, because that has been Michael's entire story since the recast
mm-hmm.
of how does Michael learn how to function outside of Mob Hospital, and it's beautifully done. like
Hmm.
beautifully done. And like they're not worried about making him look bad. Like
Right.
it's in a way where like with Willow, I don't even think they've thought about what she does after this trial.
But this is what happens with so many women on this show. Sorry, friend, who's too walking in, but who are like non-attached. This is what happened to Trina when she wasn't with
Jordan,
Spencer. This is what happened to Jordan, who still don't have a maiden name. And this is
Liz,
Liz. Like, what happens when you're not in these couples? So Willow literally has never been single on this show.
mm-mm.
Not since after she got with Chase. She got with Chase. They were together. She went to Michael in the fake marriage where they fell in love. Went back to Chase. Went back to Michael. Went to Drew. There has never been a time where she is like created an identity outside of these men. They finally have her doing something with Nina, but Nina is so deeply unlikable to me personally. Maybe people like her, I do not. And so they don't have her connecting with Nathan. They don't have her connecting with Britt. Liesel was kind of a little bit of a saving grace for her. They don't even have her being like a Westbourne. She is still
Mm-mm.
no, like she is still not established with anybody. And I cannot imagine how she becomes established with somebody while this is all happening. You'd have to bring in a
Nina.
whole nother man for her.
Hmm.
Because who was she dating that's in town?
Nina's the only person from the Westbourne family who showed up to that trial.
Sure did. Not even Nathan.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
And
he AI'd somewhere
so
else.
it's like I like the direction they're taking Willow in because I want her to be more fiery. I want her to have more
Mhm.
agency. I want her to be a problem for these men. The best female characters on soaps are big fucking problems for people. And I think what has always turned me off of Willow is that I'm never drawn to the damsel in distress character. Like it's the main thing that turned me off about Liz during the J Sam liaison, like of it all, that she represented that damsel in distress character, and my girl Sam was a baddie. But like baddies do bad things, and so now we got to get lectured at by the fucking mob enforcer, right? And so like Willow kind of represented that, but she never had a foil, right? She never had a foil to be this damn. She was just like, oh, look, it's like the Lila of it all. And now they have her in this weird, it's not a triangle because Michael don't want her ass, at least not yet. But like in the Drew, Michael, Willow of it all, like Michael has become her foil. And I'm like, girl,
You're not gonna
you
win
don't want this smoke. You're not gonna win. He got like first of all, you got the legacy of Michael Corinthos III and all of the various hospitals he's attached to,
that, right?
and just the natural riz of Rory Gibson. And so the riz alone had you losing. But when you
How'd you losing,
attach,
babes?
Mob Hospital, like Monica's Hospital, White Trash Hospital featuring the Spencers.
Not white trash
Like
hospital.
they were the trashy people. Like Kelly's, Bobby's, formerly known as Kelly's, is in the wrong
Ah,
part of town. The hospital is also in the wrong part of town because those people need it more than the Quartermains. It's a cool 30-minute drive to GH from the Q Mansion. You can walk to GH from the docks.
hmm.
It's right there. And
I
so
don't know
I
how
saw one of
big
those
Port Charles
old
is.
I've seen an old-timey map, and literally I have to find it. I'll send it to you, Tracy. Kelly's, the Spencer House, and GH are on the other side, are on what is called the wrong side of the tracks part of GH of
Okay.
Port Charles. And so Harborview Towers is a nice part of town, but it's close. It's close to the hood. It's hood adjacent where Sonny used to live,
Right,
Sonny and
right,
Jason. And
right.
so, there was this sort of distinction, but he's like attached to this very legacy bound from like the Q's to Mob Hospital, and she's just Willow.
Hmm.
She's just Willow, and she's attached to like made up lore
Right.
from early 90s Spy Hospital with
Yeah.
Faison. This is not even, Miko's Cassadine trying to freeze the world lore. This is PK Sinclair fucking lore, and I'm still never gonna understand why I have to deal with any of these people. Um, but yeah,
PK Sinclair lore is crazy. Um, yeah, I will never understand Drew making Michael his foil. Drew, you're old enough to be Michael's dad. Like
yeah.
this is a weird rivalry that you're putting out, and nobody likes it. Um,
I think they thought he had more of a chance against Michael than he ever did against Jason,
maybe
which is stupid. I guess maybe against, no, I don't even think he's winning against Chad's Michael. But
no.
I mean, they didn't even try to do a Crew versus Charlie triangle. Like they just had him dump Carly immediately upon Jason being alive.
Because he was salty.
and
Yeah.
and so they've never really tried to have him. And then like the closest we could say this was Jason versus Drew is that Drew and Michael had gotten really close when Jason
Right.
was presumed dead, and then Drew did what he did, and Jason was there to beat the shit out of Drew in
We
the
loved it.
Quartermain foyer and resume his favorite uncle position. But
Right.
him and
Right.
his like Jason and Michael, it's Jason and Michael, Jason and Michael. That's all people care about. Yeah, but why wouldn't they? This isn't even like, and that's always been the biggest issue is that they don't write, who they write Drew as?
Hmm.
AJ fucking Quartermain,
You know what?
and he has
Yeah.
absolutely no fucking. I mean, the only difference is that AJ wouldn't be going against his son this hard.
Right.
But when it comes, it's this idea of like, I have been, underappreciated in this family and in the shadow of these two for too long. And it's like, but you haven't actually. And you
No.
should understand why Monica is not going to have equal fucking feelings between you and those two.
Right. Right.
But they write him as if like Monica and everyone else in the Q family should embrace him for these reasons. And I'm like, you just showed up.
But also, Monica did embrace him.
Yeah.
Monica never didn't embrace him. The only time he ever had any problem with Monica was when he slept with Michael's wife. Even when Cameron's Drew came back and was like, Jason died saving me, Monica was like, dang, I'm sorry, I'm sad that happened, but I'm glad you're back. She never made him feel like I'm sad that this happened for you. Never. When it was when it was Billy Miller's Drew, she embraced him. They had a very sweet relationship, to be honest. And
Hmm.
when they found out about Oscar, she was like, that's my grandson. I want him to live here. He's a Q. Let me make sure." She never made that difference with him. So to your point, it's never been a time where Drew wasn't embraced by the quarterback. Like, okay, yeah, you had Ned, but it wasn't as if Ned was like embracing Michael either. You know what I'm saying? Like it was you and Michael
Yeah.
against everybody.
He was side-eyeing Michael and Drew on some
Exactly.
business stuff, and then found out that Drew was on this type of time and said, "Oh, so you just not loyal at all." And immediately started warning Michael
Yeah.
because there was a whole moment where he was like, "Listen, I'll make this deal with you, but I'm not making it with him."
Yeah.
And so you want to cut him out, then you and me could talk, and you could be CEO, and I'll keep my chairman of the board position, but he not gonna be in here, and Aurora's not gonna be in here.
Right.
And so, and Drew, him and not understanding, like, it's not even just that you slept with Willow. It'd be one thing if you slept with Willow and they couldn't let that shit go, and that's all you did. You tried to start a whole, like, so me and Willow are together, thinking that y'all could both live in that house. Are you insane?
Hmm.
Like, she really thought she could swap partners and remain in that mansion.
Hmm.
That don't make any sense. So what, you gonna move you and your kids from the gatehouse into the main house because that's where Drew lived? And Michael was supposed to stay at the gatehouse? Or was Michael supposed to move out? And y'all, both of you keep living at the Quartermain mansion in Monica's house. Like, what was the thought process of how this is all gonna work out if he was gonna still try to be Willow. Like, if you're putting people in this family, because, like, and that's the thing, this is a family home. So whatever y'all are doing, if this was something like we all live in different houses, right? We all live in different houses. What people are doing in their house is their business. We don't necessarily need to get into it. As a family, we probably will, but I can also just let that rock and just still deal with you the days I need to deal with you on the holidays I need to deal with you in. They are acting like there was a universe where if this family was more evolved, right? If they were a little bit more French, I guess, that like Drew and Willow could be together in the Q mansion with
Right.
the rest of the family, and Michael would just what go back to Mob Hospital. Like there was never a reality, and we're seeing this dynamic play out at Black Hospital right now as more and more people learn about Jurdis. That
Yeah.
there is not a reality for Stella Henry that you and Jordan get back together, and she's okay with that.
Mm,
Like, and so
ridiculous.
even the like with Drew talking about like my family turned their back on me. You turned your back on the family. You know, oh, everyone's misaligning me so bad because I just fell in love. Willow, you fell in love with your husband's uncle.
It's so stupid. Oh my
Like,
God. She just really was like, why are they so mad at me?
all we did was fall in love.
And other people have made mistakes too. Sound like our mama. Speaking of her
Hmm.
mama, so Nina goes to Brennan and was like, I need something from you. I need you to get this footage of Willow in this car erased. And Brennan says, I'll do it, but you got to talk to Charlotte for me to get information about Valentine. So in this trial, that like the biggest kind of like the smoking gun, if you will, of, in the trial, aside from just the weapon because she had it, is is this footage of her driving to and from Drew's house. Some
Hmm.
kind of way, the police were like, let's just keep it in one place. It disappears because of the WSB. They have still like screenshots. They're inadmissible. So that's gone. Nina goes to see Charlotte and like talks her way into Charlotte leaving. This is after AI Nathan then rizzed up Lulu. They go and have lunch or whatever it is, and Willa or Nina is talking to Charlotte, and Charlotte like lets Nina know she heard from Valentine, and Nina goes, "No, no, 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 don't tell me any." And here's my problem, because y'all know how I feel about Nina. If you listen to me at all, you know how I feel. I get so annoyed that Nina never stands on business. Nina always, this is always the excuse for her on the show. This is what I made mistakes, her favorite thing to say. She gets right up to the edge, does the most trifling thing that you can just like figure out, and then all of a sudden, right when she's at the edge, be like, never mind. Girl, I have not forgot that you exposed Sasha. And I haven't forgotten, because even if you want to say, oh, well, she had to, whatever, whatever, I don't agree, but okay, that is what it is. She also knew that Willow gaslit Sasha about Daisy, and that's the reason Sasha's out of town. Nina doesn't know that Sasha is with Robert. So, for all she knows, Sasha is alone, familyless, by herself, trying to figure it out, thinking if she came home, her baby would be in danger. What? But I'm supposed to believe that you're a good person because at the last minute you said, "Hold on, Charlotte, don't tell." No, you're trifling. You'll put the girls who have loved you as a mother, as a family member. You'll throw them under the bus for your degenerate daughter who barely wants to be in the same room with you.
That's that's the thing is that this would be a whole different conversation if the person she was doing this for was worth it at all. but like she is betraying people who count on her, who have been there for her. And here's the thing, because I like see the like weird where like Nina Auntie, the Nina Aunties will never. I am a Nina Auntie. That's not an insult. I wasn't making it a secret.
Badge of honor.
Like, you know. And I, a few like last month, was talking about how I feel bad that she's been saddled with this ingrate daughter and she's doing all these things to try and help her out. And Willow doesn't appreciate it at all because she's so self-centered.
Mm-hmm.
And this shit is out of pocket. Now, if you can, if you want to give Nina cap and cover, I'm not mad at you for it. I'm not gonna fight you on it, right? But like when I see that she has actively betrayed, poor Sasha, Portia, Curtis, Charlotte, Valentine. It doesn't matter that she felt bad in the middle of it, or because
Count
she's
'em
still gonna
down.
run and tell she's still gonna run and tell Pikeman, Brennan, that has heard from Valentine. Like, if you don't think that scene's not coming on Monday, like, oh, I saw people like she's double crossing him. Is she? Because like all she has to tell him is that Charlotte has heard from Valentine, and she's like, bet. So she hasn't left her house except to go to school. So however he got in contact with her is at the house or is at school.
Yep.
There's no question, and it's probably gonna be at the house. So then it's like, who been to the house? And that narrows it down. And so, like, even if she feels bad, she's still doing this for Willow. And like I said, what happens if and when it comes out that Willow did shoot Drew?
Mm-hmm.
That means that she betrayed, once more, Sasha, Portia, Curtis, Valentine, Charlotte for absolutely no reason.
Run it down. She'll betray anyone. And to me, I'm not mad at people for like the complicated characters. If you want to like Nina, I could never stand. But how am I gonna tell you not to like who you like? Cynthia's a good
Hmm.
actress. She's messy. If you like that, you like that. You talking to a girl for my days, girlies. I've loved Sammy Brady my whole life. My whole life. Ain't nobody a bigger mess.
Carly's lying to everybody currently. I'm very conscious of that. She's got a fugitive in her house.
Let me say something. I when Carly was cheating on Franco with Sunny, I cheered because I hated Carly and Franco. Get it out of my face. And Carly, I support her rights and her wrongs. I am not telling you you can't like your favorite character. And when you tell me all of the ways that Carly has been wrong, I'm like, you right. Like, and what did that mean? That's my girl. I support her.
I was on these message boards explaining why, um, how it's Elizabeth Weber's fault for not
Yeah,
watching her kids when Jake got kidnapped. It's not my
I
girl's
believe that. Hold on.
business.
Hold on. Hold on. I actually believe that. No,
Yeah.
like I'm like Sam helped you actually. So
Taught you a lesson.
and I bet you watched. Well, no, you didn't watch your kids since then
No,
actually.
no,
Mm,
she's not.
well,
But that's what
anyway,
I mean. So it's not even like I feel like and it's a weird thing, right? Because I think like if you have a platform in any way, like, a big Twitter account or a big Facebook account or Instagram, or you have a podcast, and you're sharing your opinion, it's gonna go a little wider. So like I don't even have a lot of followers on Port Misery. You have like 1,600. And like that goes a little further. You have like 10,000 followers on your personal account, but that's because you be out here doing real stuff, right?
most
And
people
so
don't know
I would
GH.
imagine, yeah, and like you would think that you would get more likes on your GH tweets with the 10,000, but it's because most of those people are like, what is Tracy even talking about? What do you
What is a
mean?
GH?
Right, exactly. And so I think sometimes when people see certain stuff, like, and not just us, like James Lott or, the Port Charles update or, the chat, like these people have platforms. And so, like, when they put their opinions out there, it does possibly feel like they are saying that this is the correct opinion or this is how a majority of people should feel, or as opposed to like, no, this is my opinion. This is how I see the show. And I don't expect everybody to view the show the way I view it.
I would
right?
never
Like,
lie to y'all and tell you I speak for a majority of people. I would never lie to y'all and
mm-mm.
make you feel like I have some sort of moral high ground. I love mess.
I love mess too. And so like if our and I've had like over 2025 because I've started engaging more on Twitter, I've had some really good conversations with
Hmm.
people who there are parts of this show we will never see the same.
Sure.
And as opposed to arguing with them about this or being like, here is why, like there were so many Lulu fans that I'm in conversation with now, not because I'm being nice to Lulu, or maybe because I'm being nice to Lulu, but because when I wasn't being nice to Lulu, when I was very pro Brooklyn, like Lulu, mind your fucking business. I wasn't like lecturing people about like, here's why Lulu's wrong, here's why you are wrong to feel this way. I would literally diffuse the situation by being like, we are not going to see the storyline the same way. And so, how about we come back together when I'm talking about a storyline we share more of a similar opinion about and like have a nice day?
Yeah.
Nothing like you stupid bitch. It's just like, I get that, you view this show this way. If y'all been listening to me for the past like month, y'all know how I feel about the Dante Geo of it all. And I know there's a lot of people who are on Geo's side specifically. I'm not arguing with any of them because they're not wrong to feel that way. They just see it in a different way. They're coming at it from a different way. They're coming at it from Geo's perspective as opposed to Dante's perspective. That's not an incorrect way to come into the story. It's just not the way I've come into it.
Yep.
And so I think with the Nina of it all, like we're not gonna sympathize. Like me and Tracy talk like every day. So I feel comfortable saying this. Me and Tracy are just never gonna come into a story from Nina's perspective,
Never.
ever. And so, there are times where I can be like, damn, I feel bad that Nina's doing all this for this like ingrate ass daughter she has. And the second it starts affecting other people on the show, sympathy gone.
Right.
Sympathy gone. Now you with her. You
Yep.
with her and you are willing to throw away, surrogate daughters, besties, people who have stood by you through your own bullshit. Because, like I said, it's not even that she's just betraying Portia and Curtis. She's flat out accusing them of doing this. Like, it
Hmm.
could not possibly be my daughter. And that's another thing. I would actually, and I'm not Cynthia. Cynthia's great, does a great job in the role. The writers were such a coward by having them like write Nina as thinking that Willow's innocent. And that's why she's doing this.
Right.
Because like they think that it gives her cover. Like, well, she thinks her daughter is being railroaded. And so she's willing to do anything. I'd
Right.
actually respect it more if she thought that Willow was guilty and she was doing
Because
stuff to cover it up.
because we had the scene with Carly and Nina, and Carly was when Nina was like arranging things with Brennan,
Hmm.
which I was like, "Ooh, that's another thing Carly gonna be upside his head for." But she's arranging things, and Carly thinks that she's trying to have her like leave the country, and
Hmm.
Carly
Because
even
that's what
says,
they
"Yeah,
would do.
yes, absolutely." And Carly even said, "Like, look, it ain't like she didn't have a reason. Like, nobody is blaming Willow for this." Nobody is like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can't believe she did this. They like, I can't believe your dumbass got caught. But nobody thinks this is a wrong thing. And I did think that having Carly say that felt like a little bit of like a soft landing for when we find out it is Willow. That like Drew has done so much to her. And we are hearing that like reiterated time and time again. We had it when Alexis was like practicing with her. We had it when we had the DA running down everything, and it still isn't everything.
Hmm.
It makes sense that Willow will be dissociating in the moment, not personalities, hopefully, and would like shoot him. That is not far fetched, and people sympathize with that. I think the show sometimes gets the wrong message from what people say they like. And I think it's because they've always had a hard time understanding collecting feedback. I remember when I felt like being in the trenches when people were trying to pretend like Sona was popular because it had like popularity on Twitter. Twitter is a platform we've talked about this many times, is designed for engagement, designed for likes. People kind of chase that. Any other place that you went on the internet, that includes the official GH YouTube, that includes fan YouTubes where they're putting up videos, Facebook, Instagram. This was not a popular story, not just because people didn't like them as a pair, but because the story was told very, very poorly.
Hmm.
And I think that that really has spooked them in figuring out how to get feedback for other stories because they take the wrong lesson from what people like. And they also don't have a reliable like way to capture information of what the audience like.
Yeah,
And it's hurt them.
it's hurt them. It is it is this really weird, like, oh, because we're engagement does not always equal success. And so a lot of the times people talk about storylines they dislike. And they'll tell you why they dislike them. Sometimes you can't take it for face value. I think you said it a lot on Sunday Shift. I've said it a lot on Part 3. Like people disliking Drew as a character does not equal Cameron Matheson's being doing a bad job.
No.
That you're supposed to not like him. He's not playing this character to be liked, but like with Willow and Nina, I think that there is this sort of like, how do we have them do things to retain likability, especially because like when someone throws out a female character, it's almost impossible to get them back. It's almost impossible to get the audience back on their side. Like, see homophobic Maria Santos, like they made her homophobic and there was nothing they could do to
Right.
like fix that. Even having her have her little like, maybe I'll stop being homophobic. Like, no, the North remembers. And so I think there's this need to have her be like, okay, well, Nina is not betraying these people but she's doing it because she believes that her daughter is being railroaded. Where like if she was doing this because she was just worried about her going to jail, and she was like, it's not fair that my daughter has to suffer for some shit that Drew deserved.
Hmm.
That aligns more with various characters on the canvas already. That is something that Alexis would do. That is something that Sunny and Carly and Jason would do.
Sure
That is
would.
something Ava would do. That is something the Quartermains would do. This is not something that would make her unlikable.
Right.
But I think they worry about that so much that they have these like, okay, like we don't want her to seem unlikable for giving up Charlotte. Well, that's going to happen regardless because Charlotte's a child. And so the fact that she's even being brought up in this is just
Right.
unsavory. You were correct in your instinct of having Nina immediately shoot Brennan down for that, and now you flipped. They've
Okay.
also de-aged Charlotte. Did you peep that? She's 16 now. She was 17
Huh, I
last
didn't
time
pick up.
yeah, she was 17 when she was helping Scout break out of camp. But she's 16 now because they
Oh,
realized that, oh no, we made her 17, which means she's 18 in a few months, which means this whole like
you on the
Lulu
road.
versus Valentine,
Right.
yeah, disappears. So they had to
Yes.
de-store as her. But like the fact that, it's the reason why Brit and the Rocco thing is so unlikable. Once you have minors involved, it's just already something that leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So my thing is rather than, try to justify it or have her be like, well, I'm gonna stop in the middle of it. Don't tell me anything, don't tell me anything. Um, just don't have her fucking do it.
Right. I'm
Don't have her
looking.
do it. Have Brennan just pull the shit, right? Like, oh, we lost these photos. He calls Nina in and is like missing something, shows her the tape, and it says, go get shit out of Charlotte right now, or this pops back up at the PCPD. That
Right.
puts her more in a situation like, what do I do? If you
Right.
want to have her still be like, I think Willow's innocent. And so this is like even the criticisms, like, and that's the weirdest part about interacting more directly on social media about the show is that like even when you interact like you kind of get caught in the aggression of your own opinion against someone else's where it's like the Nina aunties will never, well, I'm a Nina auntie against the writers of this show, not against Cynthia Watros the way you're
Right.
trying to frame it. And so, I think Cynthia shows up every day, does her job, and does it well. The same way with Alexa Happens. She shows up, she does her job, she does it well. I said this earlier, like a few months back when Nathan first came back. I forgot that Nina didn't ever, or that Michelle, not Michelle, that Michelle Stafford was Nina when Nathan died.
Right,
I had completely forgot because of how good of an actress Cynthia Watros is. And so when she was in that room when he woke up, I was like, oh, dip, this would be really hard for Nina. And then I was like, wait a minute, she didn't play that.
right.
She was
Yeah.
he was long gone by the time, like, he'd been gone for a few months. And so, like, she's an amazing actress. It is the writing choices of this show because the actors are just vessels. They
Hmm.
are vessels for other creatives' work, for
Right.
other people's words, for other people's stories. Cynthia does not write Nina's story. Drew does not write Nina's story. And even these conversations that are being had, like, well, Eden asked for the story. Eden didn't ask for every single nook and cranny detail of the
No,
spy hospital story.
no,
Like, it's crazy to think that she did. I'm sure these actors are consulted because the last thing you want to do is alienate your actors by throwing a curveball at them and then them flat out refusing to play. See the story I told about Tony and Mo about 20 minutes ago that ended with a head writer getting fired. And so if you're not willing, you're gonna have to consult. But like, yeah, this whole
but
thing with
even
Nina, yeah.
oh, but I'll also say, even if you think about, I don't know, this is just an assumption, but the character Michael Easton and Becky Hurst felt like they didn't want to play that story. It was not giving. And what happened when it didn't give? Michael Easton was gone and Becky was sidelined.
Hmm.
So to your point about whether or not they're consulted, either you do the story they give you or you don't.
Yeah.
So what, like, we don't think that actors have to be, we can get on here and talk all the time about these characters. The only actor I've ever drugged was Ingo. Oh, and Marvelous. But other than that, like, why be rude to actors over like what their story is? And I do think that that gets like confused on this, like you said, this Nina anti thing. I'm not anti Cynthia. I actually met Cynthia and thought she was very nice.
Hmm.
I'm not anti Becky. Met Becky, super nice. I would say Becky might be the nicest actress that I've met. So yeah, anyway, wanted to just add that. I also agree that I think the whole like anti conversation is like, yeah, I'm very much anti a character. Wear it as a badge of honor. Thank you for noticing.
For realsies. Also, my Amazon delivery driver can't get in, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting this package.
Hold on. That was a little real life thing where Tara missed her Amazon delivery. These holiday Amazon deliveries, I'm not even gonna get on the tangent. Let let's move on. Let's move
Hmm.
on to the show. Um, so I want to talk about Valentine. Oh no! I want to talk about that. Who is snooping on Michael and Tracy? So Michael and Tracy have a conversation at the Q's. We see like a shaky cam. I always love when they do that shaky cam thing. So somebody has heard them, but we don't know who. GH has been doing this lately with like stuff is happening and they drop it and they bring it back out of nowhere. Like
I'm guessing it's Martin
that's what I think too.
because, as we know, so Tracy came back, learned that Ned had a heart attack, was like, you're not allowed to die before me. Don't do that, bruh. He's like, bet. Let me go take a nap. They had to force him to take a nap. She learns that the knickknacks were taken by Drew. She's like, what the hell? They're like, well, somehow he has legal like right to these knickknacks because technically he's Alan's son. I feel like any court in the law would be like, no, you don't. No, you don't, just for the simple fact that you didn't meet these people until you were like 45 years old. So, like, what the hell? But he's got the knickknacks. Tracy calls Martin. And this is one of the most irritating story drags. Like, so this is why you did this. So, as y'all remember, they did not press charges on Martin, even though they should have. And apparently, they did it to save it for this moment here, because Tracy tells Martin that if he don't get the knickknacks back, she will press charges for him trying to steal her house.
The
And
knickknacks
so
is so crazy.
yeah, I'm not gonna pretend like this box nonsense is like worth a goddamn. These are knickknacks, these are tchotchkes. And so Martin calls Drew like, "Hey, heard you took them knickknacks. I'm gonna need you to send them on back." Drew said, "Hell no," and actually go spy on Tracy for me. Like, go do something for me. And then the next thing we see is someone listening in on Michael and Tracy. Now, I don't actually see why that matters because it'd be double hearsay.
Right.
Like, they
If you're
just say they
actually
didn't
making stuff
say
up.
it. Unless he physically recorded it, which I wish they had shown us like a phone recording it, like the conversation, him just running to Drew and being like, Michael said he was at your house that night. This seems like the setup. Michael has been sitting on T this entire time. The first time they showed us that clip of him in the car, I said, what the fuck is he looking at? Because he was clearly looking at something when he got back in the car. I feel like I said I could be 100% wrong, but I feel like we find out that Michael was watching Willow go into that house, that he knows that Willow did that stuff. He watched her do it and then heard the gunshots, drove off. Heard the gunshots, drove off, and like that is the T. That if they push him to that point where he loses his alibi and he has to say like and Jacinda's no longer the alibi, then he's gonna just throw her under the bus. And at that point, if Michael has to know that the photos are missing, this is a perfect time to bring Bus Finelli out, find them, and then that corroborates Michael's account that like yes I was there, but she was there, and y'all
Mm,
found the gun with her.
right.
And then have Michael do his Dark Michael speech about like, you know how I knew you did it? On top of being outside hearing the gunshots, when I saw that gun in my room. When I saw the gun in my
Mm,
room, I knew it was you. And that's why I went straight to Elizabeth's house and put it right back in your shit.
hmm.
Because you know what? I was born and raised in Mob Hospital.
I'm not new to this. You was white
Hmm
during Melage, but I was the mob.
hmm
I also think it was interesting because this is like the thing I said on Twitter about how Alexis just kind of let it sit. So they were talking about the gun, they were talking to Elizabeth about the gun, and they never brought up that Michael would possibly be the person who planted it. And so somebody was like, "Well, they're going to bring it up when Alexis does her case." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you wouldn't want the jury to sit with that. Like, why would you not do that in cross? You want to shut like it's not like you go give your best and then I go give my best. No, I'm trying to shut your stuff down as it's happening. So maybe they
Yeah.
will, just to have a
When
moment, but that doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, Alexis should have questioned Dante. Like, so you found this gun at Elizabeth's house. Was anyone else at Elizabeth's house that day? Because
Right. But
not
Elizabeth knew.
only,
Elizabeth was the person who let Michael in.
oh yeah, Dante, Elizabeth, both of them should have been questioned essentially. That like Michael and Carly were there,
Yeah.
but
What a bizarre,
nothing.
yeah, what a bizarre thing. Okay, let's keep rolling with it.
Okay,
Valentine and Carly, love them. Love Valentine rolling downstairs, being like, "We got coffee. We got
got a
coffee.
French press. Got a
We got
French
a French
press.
press."
We can't have this drip coffee.
They said, "I don't know if you know who I am."
It's
Um,
peasant
so
coffee.
so I love everything about it, but I want to get into this kind of final revelation that Valentine put out to Carly that Brennan has been setting her up. for longer than she did. They talked about this footage of Carly disappearing from the mom meeting, which is the reason that Jason was like fake dead off screen, whatever. And Carly
Hmm.
was like, for some reason, didn't think that the WSB and Jack had done it. Then also was just kind of like in the wind surprised that he would like try to take her down. I hated that. It felt like they were kind of making Carly dumb to make Valentine smart, but it does give us this new angle of Carly really wanting to take Valentine, or really wanting to take Oh Boy down, and Valentine really being valuable in
I have to go back and watch the scenes. I'm not going to. I would
it.
have to, but I'm not going to. Because, like, did she think that I mean, like, it disappeared. Did she talk to him about that? Did that happen when he was in prison also, by the way?
I think so, yeah.
And so I don't know, maybe there's something of that where she didn't know he had that type of sway then because, the WSB kind of like left him hanging out to dry. It is it is a dumb story change because I think they kind of realized that Carly and Brennan ain't happening. That's not the ship is not shipping. I mean, like she's getting more like jokey ship, you know, support with Valentine than she's ever got with American Pikemen.
American
Unfortunately.
Blackman.
People enjoyed Australian pikemen, and this is not. I like Chris McKenna. Let's do some Chris McKenna support. I like people who like soaps, and I like people who like their job and want to go to work every day. And so, even if I don't like Brendan as a character, I still like that this man is super supportive of GH, and I do think he plays the character well. It's
I
just
agree.
very clear that there was a storyline change
Yeah.
where, they decided to make and because it did seem like they were writing Anna Devane as a batshit crazy for about 6 months of 2025, where everyone's like, I don't understand why you're so sus on Pikeman. Like, Pikeman is cool and Pikeman does things. And a lot of that was Carly doing that. And now they decided actually Anna was 100% right.
Right.
Pikeman ain't shit. But it is not Pikeman who has Anna. It's Whitey's African warlord. And so it's a weird, unless they're gonna like, no, because it seems like he's like, yeah, we got to get Sidwell. And so I was like, unless they're working together, I don't see where this is going. But I don't necessarily see this as a storyline that disappears Brennan. It could be. He
Right.
could totally just go off the rails and now we got to kill him. But it seems like a storyline that gets him out of the WSB, that like what he needs to do is have less spy power. And so it seems
Mm,
like we're heading for a job swap between Anna Devane and Pikeman. Because I can see them,
100%.
making him police commissioner, and now he's everybody's problem because he has no reason to stay loyal to Mob Hospital, and that would actually make him a very like Anna has reasons to be like, I can't go after Sunny and Jason too hard for these reasons, where he has no qualms about that. He's
Yeah.
not even Mac with the stone history. He could just go
Right.
after them.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to think that if we have an actor who loves soaps, then we should keep them on the soap. And Chris McKenna loves his job, loves soaps. They just need to give him a story. He's not a bad
Yeah.
actor. I don't like his character, but that's not a personal issue I have with him. And we are people who want to
They
give the time and want to be on the show and love it. Let's figure out what to do with it. That's kind of how I feel about
they
it, to be honest.
Yeah, they put him against really hard characters to be against. And I think he
Yeah,
holds his own. Like, it's really hard to be a character on the show being hated by Jason, Anna, Valentine. Like, these are liked characters. And so the audience is going to view the characters through the character they like most lenses.
right.
And so I tend to be chill with almost every character on the show because the character I view the show through is Sunny. if
Right.
Sonny is such trash ass person, it's really hard for him to judge. He's only allowed to judge like a handful of people on the show. It's like Rick, Ava, Whitey's African Warlord, right? But everybody else has got to be like, yeah, they're all right.
All
Yeah,
right. Cool.
they're all right. Where, if you're viewing the show through like Anna, like there's probably several people on this show you don't fucking like.
Right. Well,
And so I think it's hard that he's up against, Jason Morgan. That fucking sucks. And now he's up against Carly. But there is a level of sympathy he can get being up against Carly because Jason Morgan will take it low, but Carly's taking it to hell.
to hell.
And so is Valentine.
Carly, you remember Carly kidnapped Cyrus's mom,
So,
and Jason said, "You did what?"
yeah,
So Carly will take it to hell. But
yeah.
speaking of Brennan, we had him going up against the Westbourne kids this week. So we had him
Oh
threatening
my
Brett
God.
and was like, "I need all your data." Look at that! I didn't even know that that little thumbs up happened. But we want all your data. And then when he goes to Lulu's house and AI Nathan's there, he basically calls him out and was like, "So you've been dead all this time, dead, and you not trying to find out who did it, what happened? You just go back to being lead detective just on vibes, and nothing's wrong with that." And I felt like that was a good question, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah. No
He's
one's
like,
asking where he's
he's a
been.
Faison.
He's a phase on. I will say I wish there was a bit more pushback of like, okay, he's a phase on by DNA only. He wasn't raised by that. He didn't even find out he was phase on son until 2 weeks before he died, to be honest, because Lisa held that tea for a while. It took her forever to tell us who his dad was. And people were guessing it's Victor. People were guessing this only for it to turn out to be Faison, and then we were all confused because like you you let Britt be around Faison, and then somebody will go, he can't have a son, and it never made sense because like you're trying to fight Anna for his affection, and one of the things they established is that why Anna had his affection is because he thought they had a son together with Peter, and so if you were trying to
Mhm.
do that for most of your relationship, why wouldn't you bring out this son? But whatever. I say all that to say is that Nathan did not grow up a Faison, so him throwing and I get why he's doing it because he's right, but also I get why Lulu's defending him. Even though
Yeah,
Pikeman's right, like you should question this more. You shouldn't just allow him to be around your kids. But also Lulu, if we're going by the storyline, is a big reason why Nathan got killed in 2018. And so I wish the story would lean more into her guilt
right.
over that and that being alleviated because he's not dead. That would be her excuse. It doesn't work for any other character. But for her, it would actually make sense that she's not asking questions because she now isn't the person who got her best friend's husband killed. And so I don't
Yep,
care where he's been.
yep. I think that's right.
And so sometimes, like the show, like I said, the show will lean into like creating, the dawn of day fighting force, but then it won't lean into the actual history that would help the storylines they're trying to tell make sense.
No, they don't want to do
Besides the
that.
whole, like, oh, well, ooh, Maxie and Lulu, is that what's happening? Maxie and Lulu at least give us something to make that make sense. Like, oh, she's
Right.
the most supportive person of him because of this past where everyone else kind of side-eyeing him. Like, I never understood why Dante was so about this life. Like, oh, Nathan, yeah, come back. I'm the commissioner. Come back. You're welcome back. Why?
It's weird. Well, we do have Anna is still locked up and she gets like a tray of food and it's also like a note from Faison. So clearly somebody's trying to do some sort of mind games with her.
Ah, it's got to be Peter. It's
You
got to
think
be
so?
Peter. I think, okay, so there is a
That's kind of
rumor that
crazy.
there's a rumor that Tony Geary's last project was, I mean, we know that his last project was Anders Hove, who plays
Mhm.
Cesar Faison. And so now it's like, I think they would tell us if this was happening, but everyone's like, was it GH? Is that what's happening? Are they actually bringing Faison back? it has to be. I don't think they're coming back. I think both of what they wanted to do was in Europe. I think like what they were shooting was in Europe because they both live in Europe. I feel like if Tony Geary was back in LA, we would have known that somebody would have said something. Um, and so I think it has to be Peter in some way, unless they're just gonna cop out and just make it Whitey's African Warlord being messy, just like yellow wallpapering random women on this cast.
Mm,
And so I don't know.
I mean, we'll see. And Anna looked terrified. Also, a good performance this week. I said, okay, girl. She said, I got
Hmm.
1 minute to make history. Um, let's talk about why East Africa Warlord a little bit. He out here doing his thing. Apparently, he got the peers, pulled Laura to the side and was like checking her. Kevin showed up, and then when Kevin was like he wasn't leaving, and maybe Laura should tell what he doing, he was like, "I need them. I don't need you." Let me tell
2026
GH.
speculation.
Let me tell GH something. Y'all better leave Kevin Collins alone. He go back and forth to Atlanta and do his thing. Let that man be off screen. I'm not trying to hear it.
I'm so worried about Kevin Collins. I'm so worried about him because we know that Whitey's African Warlord got a happy trigger finger. He
The
loves killing
happiest.
somebody.
The happiest. Okay? And then he'll be like, he'll be shooting Kevin and be like, and this was your fault.
Hmm. It's Laura's fault for telling you. And so,
Yeah,
I him just being so extra though, that's gonna be his downfall.
it
That
is.
he's extra. Like he's also answered like with 2 weeks left in the year, he's answered my question of like, is he Lorenzo Alcazar coded or Anthony Zaccara coded? He is in fact Anthony Zaccara coded because he is
100%.
way too fucking chaotic. Like you should be way more undercover with this, but now he feels like he won. He got everybody, all the pieces on the board. Except no, you have everyone on high alert. Like everyone knows that you are an ancient person. Not a single person, except for maybe Jordan Ashford, is like, and Lucas are like, maybe he's all right. What about Sonny? But everybody else, like, yeah, he sucks. He sucks. And so you've gone too far, you've done too much. And now it's just a countdown until we take you out.
Right.
Does your
Well,
son survive? We don't know.
mm, well, Rocco got community service. So, after Sidwell got him beat up, he now has community service. He also like reached out to Britt to let her know.
Hmm.
After Britt, like, so Britt hadn't heard from Rocco, like found and approached Emma. Emma read her down. She was like, "You a broke bitch. You live on top of a diner. Actually, you don't get to tell me
You never,
anything."
you never wanted to be a mother.
Period.
Got
Um,
pregnant to trap my dad.
she tried my daddy. And one thing about Emma, she gonna read Brent every time, and I'm gonna like it. Every single time, I'm gonna like it. So Brent hears from Rocco, texts him back. Rocco left his tablet at home, so the tablet also gets the text. Lulu sees it. Lulu goes straight to Brent and said, "Quit reaching out to my son." And Brent defiant, like that's not his mama.
And then Lulu blocked her, which is gonna go over like gangbusters with Rocco. But
Of course.
here's the thing. So Rocco got his sentence. Um, let's go back. Rocco comes downstairs on his way to get to the law with some
Yes.
goddamn boat shoes on, with some duck shoes on.
Hmm.
Doesn't want to change these shoes, then gets the attitude over which of his parents is going to take him to court. You have a case, so you don't get a say. Whoever is taking, you just get in the car. He gets his little like community service. We have the horny DA and Sunny, and they're like, oh, their little weird honey pot they're doing on each other. But Horny DA says that, you can have 500 hours community service, which is a really long time, by the way. It's like a lot. But he comes home, immediately gives his dad attitude, and starts
Yes.
texting Britt.
Yes.
Who thinks that this is good writing for Rocco? That's my question. And like, I get if you are on, Dante's being out of line with Gio. I understand Brits, want to have a relationship with Rocco. What I'm saying is, this a 15-year-old kid talking to his parents any kind of way, fresh out of jail, fresh out. He has a case. He's on probation. He has to do community service. And he still feels that he is within his rights to tell his parents things, to talk to them, to dismiss himself when he's done talking. That is not likable behavior to me.
Nope.
Like, none of this is likable. And I feel like they think that they're writing Rocco the way they're writing Charlotte, and they're not at all.
No.
Because at
Unfortunately.
least Charlotte has some type of sympathy to what her mom's going through. She doesn't want, like, the main reason she don't want to talk to her mom is because she's like, you don't want to hear what I have to say, actually, because
And that's
you will
actually
not
her
like it.
daddy. It's actually her daddy,
Mm-hmm.
not the woman who stole her as an embryo. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
And then they
well,
have
kind
him
of.
just ignore, they're like having him just ignore these big red flags that should make him not want anything to do with her. The fact of it that, she stole him as an embryo, like the storyline chooses to frame this as if Dante and Lulu would have just left him in the freezer for the rest of his life. You don't know that. She didn't give them a chance to actually decide and find a surrogate. She stole you, right? And then you have the whole like her disrespectful way she's moving around you. And then you have like, so he's on trial for breaking into this lab. He got the key fob from her, which means that she's obviously testing on these animals too, but that is not
Right.
brought up.
Right.
He just ignores that. And it's like, oh, because she gets to be a victim. It's just all of this cover for Brit, and I still don't like her as a character. It's not helping me like her as a character. It's making me hate Rocco.
Hmm.
He just seems like such a disrespectful ass kid, especially compared to everyone else.
Hmm.
Like Jason steps to Danny all the time, and at least Danny gets to be like, oh, I get that,
Right.
but still, Dad. Rocco
Right.
is literally just cussing his parents out. And I'm like, at what point are you allowed to fight your children? Like, Rocco is taller than Dante. So I feel like if Dante wanted to swing on him, is that child abuse?
Oh, I mean, I don't know, but Rocco,
I don't
like
have children.
the fact that he had to like come to Geo and they made like some sort of truce where Geo basically has supervised visitation. I, you know, I hate the way the story is portrayed because I don't think Lulu or Dante are wrong. I think that the kind of the way Lulu is protecting Charlotte is like a little bit annoying, but I also get it. Because to your point, like we said up top of the episode, this is not like Valentine and her would have like split custody. If you leave with her, I won't see her, and she will be in danger. So, you know, yeah, I can't even talk about the kids.
Yeah,
The Latte children annoying me,
all of them.
every last one of them. I love that Brad is back in town. Not that I don't love that, but I love that even he was confused as to why Britt was talking to Rocco. He was like, "What?"
Yeah. Brad, first of all, they had him come back in as a broke bitch, and I don't understand why they have these seemingly intelligent characters, like intelligent enough to like bamboozle entire sections of this show, but do not understand that like a $200,000 payout is not going to take you far on planet Earth if you ballin' like you Elon Musk. with $100 billion. And so,
Crazy.
like, that's the same thing that brought random sex worker back to town, that Nina paid her off, and she immediately glamped it all away in Australia. And so it's weird. And he immediately comes back and decides to blackmail Portia. I can't.
Annoying. I'm not trying to hear it. Get him out of here. And then him and Brent, like some brokies, go have just an elaborate like lunch and then dine and dash.
They are the worst type of friendship because, like, here's the thing. Even if I was under the impression that you were paying for lunch, like you came in and you were like, get whatever you want, it's on me. I'm not gonna take that as a challenge. Right. Like, to where we end up with a $2,000 bill. What?
It
Like,
was
oh, you're paying, Tracy?
ridiculous.
Let me get the Dom Perignon and about six lobster tails. Thank you so much. Tracy's paying. What?
Terrible. Terrible. And then like some true brokies, they dine and dash. And GH also knows what they're doing because we had that like spoiler about Chase like making a pair of arrests, and we thought it was gonna be something with the trial, and then it happened to be these brokies. I was like, GH gets right up to the edge of doing something interesting, and then they walk it right back. It's just like Drew crashing out, like, I'm gonna say it was Michael. I'm gonna say it was Michael on the stand. Da, 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 da. Having Alexis sweating, nervous about losing her license again, and then he goes up there. And he's like, I'm gonna just hold on to it. No, say it. That's interesting.
It would have been better,
It would have been gag
First of all,
worthy.
I I made a tweet when I saw the spoilers on Monday. I mean, you said them on Sunday, but on Monday I made a tweet. I was like, "Who could be arrested? Is it Curtis and Portia because they've been lying? Kai and Trina have obviously been not with very forthholding from the police. Obviously we have the wild card of Sunny and Laura, Michael and Jacinda, or Michael and Tracy. Just for it to be Brad and Britt is fucking crazy. The Drew of it all, why not have him remember? Like, why isn't the cliffhanger like horny DA Andrew, like, do you remember who shot you? And him it flashing back to whoever did it, and then him being, or like, you don't even have to flash back. Don't tell us, right? Have him have a moment of like, and then be like, yes, I do. And then, if you wanted to like have him cover for Willow, he could be like, "Oh, I lost it." And then he goes and confronts her on Monday's episode. But like have him actually remember instead of being like, "Well, I'm still down to crash out, giving you one more chance, Alexis." What? I can't believe this.
Enough. Enough. Enough, enough, enough. Just cowardly. What else do I have? Oh, Isaiah and Portia. Isaiah said that he not only he is either going to be the father or he's going to be the father that stepped up. Whatever it is, he gonna be there. And I said, you know what? One thing about Isaiah, that's a good mistress right there.
I I like that Portia refused to go home with Curtis.
I love it.
I hated it when he asked. I hate, like, once again, for me, if you enjoy Curtis, you're allowed to enjoy him. I hate that they've had him be such a dick to her all of 2025. And the second he thinks she's pregnant with his child, now he's the nicest person. Come home with me. Let me take care of you. You are actively with Jordan Ashford. And so no, I'm not coming home with you. And I would have liked if they had Portia kind of push back, like, and how dare you even offer that in front of Trina and put me in that situation, knowing that
Mhm.
you are currently with Jordan.
Right,
Go straight to hell. I'm a doctor. I know how to take care of myself. I have doctor nurse friends. I don't need you.
right.
And if you hadn't been around running around telling anyone who would listen in your immediate family, Trina wouldn't even know. Because it wasn't Stella who let that secret fly, it was Hat Daddy
Yep.
talking as loud as he possibly could at Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
And he didn't need to know. And so terrible, terrible.
A mess. But yeah, I also appreciated Portia and her lie. She was like, I'm here with my girlfriend. She said, I
Mhm.
said, you better lie about being with this other man. I love it. And
Yeah,
I'm
because
support her right and wrong.
Curtis gives demanding. He gives overbearing. He gives like if she said he wouldn't accept platonic heterosexual fucking friendship.
Nope, because he don't understand them.
No.
Um, the last thing I have on my docket before we get into the thing that you do, is Jocelyn and Jason are now working together ish. So Jason kind of goes to Jocelyn and because he wants to like reverse engineer Britt's medication. And I kind of appreciate Joss being like, you can't just ask me what I know without telling me what you know. Because that's what Jason was trying to do. Just tell me what
Mhm.
you have, but not being forthcoming with anything else. And Joss being like, whatever is happening, Britt is not some innocent bystander. She's actually a participant. Because Jason needed to hear that. I don't know why they think like they're trying to do this cross of like a damsel in distress slash like whatever they're trying to do with Britt's story. And for me personally, it's not working. It's time to move on, trying to move forward. I'm not saying don't do your Brit, it is what it is, but do it a different way because this ain't working for me.
Um, yes. Jabrit is never gonna work for me. I just don't find them offensive. Like I feel nothing for them. Sam is dead.
That
Nothing Jabrit could ever do could even touch J Sam in any of
never.
its iterations. So, y'all want to do that, that's fine. I'm fine with that. The show will never convince me to like Jocelyn as a spy. Like you get Jason involved all you want. I don't like it. I don't care for it. Y'all could be having her do anything else. But, I personally would love if y'all would just retire Spy Hospital because I'm sick of Spy Hospital because it's not currently 1987, which
Ooh,
is the year I was born, and the USSR is gone, and we don't need this, to be honest. Like, who are the evil villains? Like, oh, it's this Whitey's African warlord. Why can't the FBI deal with that? Why can't the PCPD deal with that? Why can't Bob Hospital deal with it? Why's it got to be this weird extrajudicial government agency that seems to like operate like NATO, where people from around the world, around the Western world, are in it? I hate this stuff. The more isolated she is in it, the dumber she looks to me, to be honest. Because like, if you liked it, you're allowed to like it. I know that some people like it, and this one goes into what I was saying earlier. Just because I do not like, Joss and Spy Hospital doesn't mean I'm saying that you shouldn't. And so if you're enjoying it, please feel free to enjoy it. Um, she looks dumb. Like Jason looks dumb talking to her. She looks dumb in this. And like them just assuming, yeah, I swept for bugs. Well, Vaughn thought he swept for bugs too, but now he's off with like a freaking bag over his head somewhere in like the South Pacific. And so y'all just like you just took her word that yeah, I sweep for bugs every day. And then had this whole conversation that like now because of plot shenanigans, I'm supposed to believe that Pikeman didn't hear because Jocelyn's that good. I'm just never gonna like this story. I just think there's a million things you could have had her do. Like it's not my fault that y'all didn't give Jocelyn any passion outside of what man she was with.
ooh.
That's not my fault. The only passion she's ever had has been volleyball, and then it's been her love life. And like she's good in those, storylines. But when you think about like Trina got art, Emma has animal rights. Cameron even had his soccer that actually became a thing. Jake also has art. Like, what has ever been Jocelyn's thing except her fucking man? And now the reason that she's in the WSB is once more because of her fucking man. And so me personally, me, Tara Kendall, host of Port Mystery, I hate Jocelyn as a spy, and I will never like it. Never. I don't think it gives her agency. I don't think it makes her a baddie. I think it's just some shit for her to do. Because y'all don't have a big enough imagination and you won't let Spy Hospital die, even though it should have died 20 years ago when you made Anna the police commissioner the first time, when she came back. Like,
Well, I have nothing else. I'm also not a Jock the Spy fan. Um, yeah, and I agree that she needs something else that she is passionate about.
yeah.
Um, so you wanted to talk about 2025 stories. So I want to hear it.
Yeah, so there was like a bunch of storylines that because it's the end of the year and it's hard with soaps because it's a our show runs 5 days a week, like pretty much every week of the year. There's very rare a time where GH is not on at least 2, 3 times a week. And those are very few and far between when we don't get the full 5 days. And so it's hard to remember where the year began versus where we ended up and like what storylines they were running in the beginning of 2025 and how many of those actually manifested into something that we're still currently dealing with right now. And so some of the big ones, and these are just the ones I'm mentioning, they're not all of them, so it's not a conclusive list. And it's
Mhm.
also not saying that I liked these storylines, so some of them I actually fucking hated.
You're like, they're
But
just present.
yeah. So storylines that manifested into something in 2025. So at the beginning of the year, we were dealing with Who Killed Sam and Dex, even though we all knew it was Cyrus. And of
Hmm.
course, that manifested itself into the Joss is now in the WSB storyline. So we killed my girl, and we killed Dex, and we ended up killing Cyrus, who's also a great character, by the way. Just he's an asshole. Doesn't mean Jeff Kober wasn't giving.
Right.
So we killed all these characters just for Joss to be in the WSB and annoy me personally. And so that, I guess, followed through. We also had Christina was still very mad about Dead Baby Summer in 2024. And
Correct.
she was still vowing revenge on Ava and Rick, who were dating at the time in the beginning of the year. And that obviously manifested itself into Rick is in the basement storyline, which may be one of the best storylines of 2025. I never thought I would say that attached to a Christina Corinthos Davis storyline. I loved Rick in the basement. We didn't get enough of it. Obviously,
Hmm.
it was used to facilitate Rick Hurst needing to go deal with family matters. But some of the best monologues between Nancy Lee Grahn, Rick Hurst, and Maura West were had in that basement with Rick tied to the thing. And I kind of like that it ended like Christina's vendetta against these two. Now, Rick
Yeah.
could flip it at any moment. And he's the one we want in this position who's just like, what's he gonna do? Is he being real? Is he gonna, he wants to have a relationship with Sunny? Or is this all a long con to eventually get Christina and Alexis back? But we did start with, Christina vowing revenge. She kind of got it. It was a whole thing with like cutting brake lines and blackmail and assault and then in the basement. But they did go somewhere. We also have the Portia is being blackmailed by Drew. That's one half. And then Jordan deciding to work for Sidwell. That was happening in the beginning of 2025. And that obviously manifested itself into the Black Hospital couple swap storyline. Boo. Boo words. Because, like, what the fuck?
Mhm.
What the hell? Like, so Portia being blackmailed by Drew literally just leads to the disillusion of Portia and Curtis's marriage. Jordan deciding to go work for Sidwell obviously leads to for it doesn't obvious. It does not obviously lead anywhere. It just led to Jordan and Isaiah breaking up. And then all of a sudden, I think Isaiah ended up being a confidant for Portia in the middle of all that, like early on. And we start to see their relationship come together at the same time. Curtis and Portia are spending all of 2025 having an emotional affair. Um for various reasons, whether it's over the
Mhm.
stupid Sidwell stuff, whether it's Drew. Um Terrible storyline. Great acting on behalf of Brooke Kerr.
Yes.
Brooke Kerr, and I cannot remember the name of the actor who plays Isaiah Gannon, and I think I would pronounce it incorrectly. I apologize.
I think it is. Let me see. Keep going. I'll find it.
Yes, we're gonna come back to it because he deserves a name check because he's been
Sawan-
doing really good.
Sawandi Wilson.
So Wandy Wilson, yes, as Isaiah, the North Star of Black Hospital, to be honest. But yeah, we had that. So another storyline we had at the beginning of 2025 that did lead somewhere over 20 is a huge fucking storyline. It was the Chase cannot father children,
Oh
and
yeah.
Lois is keeping a big secret from Brooklyn. And that obviously manifested into Gio is Brooklyn and Dante's son, and that Lois just raised him like a kitten she found on the side of the road. Village status, very weird, but it led to a lot of things, and now we're still playing it out. It's manifested into the Rocco's Hospital storyline where Dante and Gio have this weird beef, but he's cool in Brooklyn, so like she had zero sons at the beginning of 2025, and now she has one who likes her, calling her mom. And so shout out to the Brooklyn fans. We also had Lucas dumping Brad and then falling into bed with a stranger at the beginning of 2025, which obviously manifested into the Lucas is now a WSB asset story because he dates Whitey's African warlord's Latino son. And
Yeah.
so that went somewhere. Beginning of 2025, we did not know that Nina had the Willow did not know that Nina and Drew had slept together.
Mhm.
And obviously that manifested into the never ending Who Shot Drew storyline that we all said we wanted and now we immediately regret. So one thing we should learn for 2026 is don't be overly excited about storylines. Don't do that. The writers don't know what to do with it. Uh Only two more of the ones that actually worked out. Tracy was in jail for stealing Willow's children at the beginning of 2025. Remember, she got arrested because Michael got blown up, and then they snatched them kids, and then she wouldn't allow uh Willow to see her kids. She ended up getting arrested. That manifested into Tracy inheriting Monica's house. That's what did it. Her willing to crash out and all that. And then finally, Michael was burnt up and he was in a clinic in Germany. And that manifests into the very popular Dark Michael storyline we have because that is brought up often. That, like, I was in a clinic in Germany. I was burnt. It was terrible. Now, there are three big storylines from 2025 that were completely dropped. Number one, Sonny had heart problems and was hanging out with homophobe Marie Santos and was thinking about leaving the mob. Remember when Sonny wanted to leave the mob?
That's right.
Poof, disappeared in
And his heart's
2025.
good.
His heart's fine. He's drinking with Rick. He's drinking with Rick. But, you know, that was just complete. We killed homophobe Marie Santos and we fixed Sonny's heart. And now he's
But
like I gotta fight for my peers.
We still don't know who burnt up Michael,
No, we don't know. We just know that
and
he's changed, man.
we still don't know for sure. Sunny still doesn't know that White East African Warlord is the one who sent the assassin for him when his heart was
Mm-mm.
broken.
No. He also doesn't have proof that he blew up Charlie's. He just like, I'm going on vibes.
Yeah.
And so the other storyline that they were writing hard was Jason pretending to be the father of Sasha's baby. You remember how they were like trying to lean into that? And then we all collectively said, nay, we don't want that. Don't do that. And so I guess it's a good thing to listen to us on that, but that went nowhere. Sasha just ended up leaving the show. And then, okay, I'm gonna hold your hand digitally when I say this, Tracy. The beginning of 2025, everyone thought that they were about to get LNL 2,
We did. We did. We did. It hurts.
and it went nowhere. Lucky said, I'm blowing this popsicles joint. I'm taking my baby with me so y'all can't call me a deadbeat anymore. But those are the big three, I think, that were dropped over 2025. Sonny wanting to leave the mob. We fixed his heart. We killed homophobe Maria Santos, but what we really did was reinvigorate his. We didn't even reinvigorate his love for the mob. We just dropped that shit. It's just I gotta. We're here. We're doing it. Yes, Jason pretending to be the weird. Like, are they doing a Jason Sasha thing? And then they obviously announced that Kelly Thiebaud's coming back, and then they usher Sasha away. And then LNL2, the true victim of 2025, is the LNL2 storyline. Um, Pour one
I,
out for
I feel
Tracy
personally
and
attacked.
all the LNL2 fans. But yeah, that's all I got.
That was a good list. Um, I next year would like to see a return of Sasha. I like Michael and Jacinda. I know people are calling them Macinda. I like my Cinda, but who am I? Um, but I want to see Sasha back. I'm trying to get Misha 2.0. Let's freaking go. That's all I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to right now.
Michael's got a loose baby out there. Come on now.
I love telling people that Michael's outside baby was delivered by his wife at his divorce hearing.
Hmm.
That was some good soap right there.
Yeah, and the way no one cared.
No,
Not the audience, not the judge, not Whitey's African warlord.
nobody
Um,
cared. Everyone's like, well, Willow, whatever.
didn't you sleep with your husband's uncle?
Boom. Well, let's talk about next week because this was a super long episode. But
Yeah, it
like I
was.
said, do it invite y'all. Y'all got time next week. Um, Monday, Jason and Danny come bearing gifts.
To who?
Curtis, who knows? Curtis updates Jordan, probably on Portia's uterus. Um, Ava and Nina reconcile.
Boo.
Tracy counsels Cody.
Okay.
Emma confides in Trina.
Okay. Well, I mean, Jocelyn over here being a whack ass spy, so she got could find somebody. Trina gotta talk to somebody.
Ah. Tuesday, Willow's trial resumes. Chase gets bad news.
It better be about Willow.
Portia confides in Ava.
Ava, no.
Tracy encounters Laura. Alexis receives new intel.
Oh, it's gotta be Martin's tea.
Yeah. Wednesday, Port Charles celebrates Christmas Eve. Carly makes a risky move. Sunny counsels Dante.
I'm dead.
Trina tries to make amends.
Boo.
With who? If it's with
The only
Jordan,
person I could, yeah. Only person I can think of is Jordan, and fuck that.
I'm gonna hold what I have to say. Nina and Obrit count their blessings.
For what?
Thursday, who
You
knows?
both got and great daughters.
Thursday is a full network preemption because that's Christmas. And then Friday, Tracy Mrs. Monica. Then we'll host a soiree at Windermere. We're going out there.
No, no, because you know what? There's not enough. Like, just don't try to black and white ball me when y'all don't got the budget for that. Don't do that.
No. You remember when back in the day when they had like this was like during COVID, they had Spencer throw like a party at Windermere, but nobody
I
was
do.
there. So they just had like the core cast and like bracelets, like, oh, it's so many people outside. Kind of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kevin voices his gratitude. Jordan makes an observation. Willow tries to change Drew's mind.
Jordan's observation is probably going to be about how close Isaiah and Portia is because she is a shit bitch. Um, Willow, I don't know if it's like Drew remembers that she shot him or if he's like, I'm down to crash out and say that it was Michael
Yeah,
because the tea about Michael comes out and Willow's like, no, don't do that. Um, Either because she knows that Michael somehow knows that she did it and he will crash out. Because I'm waiting for them to be like, for Michael to be like, look, I knew she did it from jump, but I was trying to give her, like, if she could get away with it, I was gonna let her get away with it. But then
because
she
I
did
didn't
what
want
she
my
did.
kid's mom to be a murderer.
Yeah, but then she did all that, and so, it is what it is.
Damn. Well, friends, if you made it to the end, we appreciate you. Make sure to like, share, subscribe to both Sunday Shift and Port Misery. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Buy us a coffee, share the video because I am trying to. There is a Rory Gibson and Eden McCoy event in New York when I'm gonna be out there for work. So if I get enough coffees, I'm gonna try to get it back.
Okay.
Other than that, we will see you next week. Oh yeah, also
Bye.
I keep not leaving. Tara and I are gonna do some evergreen content. So we're gonna do some like digging into like sweeps and like favorite things, favorite ships. So be on the lookout for those in the new year. Okay, now for real. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.